I knew something was wrong the second I turned onto my streetcars, jammed up everywhere, music pounding so hard it made my teeth rattle, and honest to God, the kind of chaos that makes your heart stop. Strangers were in my pool. My pool. Laughing, splashing, holding red Solo cups, acting like they'd just bought the place at auction. And there, right in the middle of my driveway, stood the queen herself, Karen from the HOA, cool as a cucumber behind a folding table, handing out name tags like she was hosting a charity gala. Behind her, some poor sap had hung an HOA banner crooked over my fence, and there was a guy never seen him before collecting cash for event supplies. Karen didn't even blink when I pulled up. She just gave me that smile, the one you give a dog who just peed on your lawn, condescending, patient, like she was about to hand out a treat. "Welcome to the HOA Summer Bash," she said, as if I didn't just catch her throwing a block party in my own backyard. I didn't shout, didn't argue. I just walked right past her, straight to the pool equipment behind the fence, put my hand on the drain valve and thought, "You want my pool, Karen? Maybe you'll like it empty." But before we hit the big bang, let me back up a sec, because before all this, my life was, well, almost boring. I worked hard, paid the bills, came home to the backyard. I'd always dreamed of a place where things just made sense. That pool wasn't some fancy showpiece. I saved for years, planned every inch, made it the heartbeat of our home. My kids did their first cannonballs in there. My wife grilled burgers while pretending she didn't hate my country playlist. Summer weekends drifted by, slow, warm, peaceful, the kind of days you wish you could bottle forever. And for the record, we live outside the HOA line. No board, no random rule changes, no approved paint colors, just our corner quiet where you mind your business and expect the same from others. But 3 houses down, that's where HOA world begins, and that's where Karen lives. Folks whispered her name like she was a hurricane headed for landfall. Always with that clipboard, always measuring something, always ready with a complaint before a good morning. Never thought she'd care about my pool, never figured she'd even notice us tucked just outside her kingdom. But Karen doesn't need an invitation, she just needs something to control. For a while, that thing was my peaceful backyard. She'd strut around, eyes peeled for rule breakers, shoulders square chin up like she was inspecting a kingdom she personally invented. You left your trash can out. She saw it. Wreath wasn't seasonal. She saw it. Lawn a half-inch too tall. Oh, she definitely saw it. Halloween out, she'd go with a tape measure, making sure no skeleton was too scary or too tall. The kids thought it was a joke. The adults, not so much. They all learned to adjust before she got the chance to tattle. I figured, hey, we're not in her HOA, she's got no reason to bother with me. But Karen liked to lean a little too far over her porch, peering right into our lives. Don't give her a reason to notice you folks warned. I sure didn't plan to. But then I built the pool. At first, Karen just watched, walking slow, arms folded, head tilted like she was judging the blueprints. The workers kept me posted. That lady came by again, they'd say. She didn't talk, but man, she looked at the pool like it owed her money. Should have been my first warning. After the pool was finished, I caught her squinting through the fence. No shame. She just pointed. "Is that safe?" she asked. "Yep, installed by professionals," I said. She wasn't satisfied, but she never really was. From then on, she'd stop on her walks, peeking in, flashing that tight, not really a smile. A neighbor told me she'd tried to get the HOA to expand jurisdiction. Another heard her rant at a meeting about community risks and unregulated water features. My pool became her latest mission, the one thing just out of reach. Rules were power to Karen, and she wanted her power to stretch beyond the map. It got weird. She'd time her walks to catch my kids swimming, frown at the sound of laughter like joy was an offense. One day I found a flyer in my mailbox, a friendly reminder about noise levels, then another, water safety concerns for nearby residents. The third, unregulated aquatic structures may attract pests. All signed HOA, but let's be real, written by Karen. It escalated passive-aggressive to just plain aggressive. More pacing, more staring, more dog walking with a dog that clearly wanted to keep moving. I'd done everything by the book: permits, inspections, hired pros, no shortcuts. But Karen didn't care what was legal. She cared about what she could control. And my pool, she couldn't. The first real showdown came on a perfect summer day, sun-warm kids yelling wife, chilling with a cold drink. Me playing grill master and lifeguard. Gate slams. Karen storms in. Clipboard ready barking. Everyone out of the pool. The kids freeze. My wife stands up. "Excuse me, this is our property." Karen ignores her. "Your pool is a safety hazard. I've had multiple complaints. From who, no answer, just more finger snapping at the kids. That was it for me." "Karen, you don't have authority here. We're not in your HOA. She bristled, dialed 911, and started spinning a wild story about unsupervised children and escalating danger. My wife couldn't help but laugh. "I'm a school nurse and everything's permitted and safe. Cops showed up calm as you please, looked at my papers, gave me the all clear, and told Karen, no, you're not in charge here." But Karen, she didn't quit. Next morning, she's poring over HOA paperwork, city maps, county lines, like she's prepping for a Supreme Court case. She showed up at the next HOA board meeting waving a binder thicker than my wallet after payday, shouting about unregulated water structures and community risk. The board tried to explain that house isn't in our HOA. She insisted it should be. Everyone realized then she was never letting this go. So she moved to phase 2, premeditated madness. She'd take photos of my pool-worn dog walkers about toxic chemicals, even stopped a delivery guy to ask if he'd noticed suspicious activity. At one point, I saw her measuring the distance from her property line to mine, like a foot of dirt was all it'd take to annex my backyard. But then she got quiet. And if you know HOA types, you know quiet means plotting. Next thing I know, HOA event schedules show up in my mailbox, suspiciously vague about pool activities. Karen starts loading up her car with folding tables, balloons, party supplies. My wife, watching all this, mutters, "She's planning something." And I could feel it, some storm was coming, and my pool was right in the eye. The day it all blew up started normal. Took the kids out, grabbed groceries, maybe a movie night. Then I turned onto my streetcars everywhere, thumping bass, strangers everywhere. My backyard gate was wide open, people all over my property, music blasting from someone else's speakers. My own towels wet and crumpled draped over every chair. My wife hustled the kids inside. Eyes wide, youngest asking Dad, "Why are they in our pool?" I could barely answer. I scanned the mess for Karen and spotted her sun hat clipboard running the show. She grinned as I stormed over. "You finally made it," she chirped. "What are you doing?" I asked, barely holding it together. "Hosting the community summer pool event," she said, "in your pool." She claimed the HOA had voted to use my property, declared it a shared recreational facility. I almost laughed. "You can't just file my backyard as a park." She smirked. "You didn't object during the planning period." I told her as quietly as I could. "You need to leave. Everyone needs to leave. This is trespassing." She actually sneered. "No, you're obstructing an HOA event." She genuinely believed she owned my pool. At that point, my wife appeared, voice low. "Get the kids in their room," Karen warned. "Don't do anything stupid. You'll embarrass yourself." That's when something changed in me. No more shouting, no more arguing, just clarity. I stepped inside, shut the door. My wife found me, said, "She really thinks this is her pool." "Yeah, she does." She raised an eyebrow. "Then show her it's yours. Use the drain valve." At first I thought she was joking. She wasn't. That idea hit me like a bolt. Just empty the pool. Let Karen have what she wants. Nothing. I waited for the perfect moment, let her get comfortable, let her build her fantasy, let the backyard fill to bursting. My wife stood by my side, both of us listening to the party rage outside. Finally, when the pool was packed, when Karen was giving a speech about our annual HOA summer bash, I slipped away, crouched behind the fence, and with one twist started draining the pool. At first, no one noticed. Just a little less water, a little weird. Then the kids started complaining the water was low. A woman frowned. A man asked, "Wasn't it deeper?" Karen brushed it off. pools fluctuate, but soon it was undeniable. Steps showing water swirling away. Floaties left stranded HOA banners slipping into the pool and sinking like a ship. People started leaving. Karen started panicking. Who touched the equipment? Who sabotaged the event? Somebody muttered, "I don't think this is her pool." Another whispered, "Yeah, the owners aren't even in the HOA." Karen's face went from red to ghost white. She stomped toward me, screeching, "You drained the pool." "It's my pool," I said, calm as the sky after a storm. "My property, my water, my rules." Cops showed up again. Karen tried to get me arrested for sabotaging an HOA event. The officer just blinked, checked my paperwork, shook his head. "Ma'am, this is his pool. None of this belongs to the HOA. You cannot host events here." Karen sputtered. Tried one last time, but the officer cut her off. "You're trespassing." Her audience had vanished. The HOA sign lay at the bottom of the empty pool. She stood alone, her clipboard in the grass, soaked, furious, powerless. And just like that, the spell broke. The HOA board sent an apology letter, said Karen acted alone, that she was done. At the emergency meeting, neighbors let it all out, every ridiculous complaint, every time Karen had overstepped every petty rule she tried to enforce. By the end, she was voted out, banned from handling HOA money. Her clipboard finally retired. No more Karen. Just a cautionary tale, a warning, don't mess with what isn't yours. Filling the pool again took hours, but those hours were mine quiet. Peaceful, watching the sun hit fresh water like a brand new start. My wife leaned on my shoulder, kids begged to swim. And when they finally dove in, laughter echoing across the yard, it felt like summer finally came back. Karen drove by once, shoulders slumped, eyes fixed forward, no clipboard, no glare, just the look of someone who'd lost more than an argument. She'd lost her power, her reputation, her grip on the neighborhood. And here's what I learned, what I want you to remember: boundaries matter. Not just fences and property lines, but the invisible lines you draw to protect your peace. Sometimes the best way to defend that peace is to pull the plug on anyone who thinks they can take it. Let me ask you, where do you draw the line when someone tries to take what's yours? Would you drain the pool, or would you fight a different way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about justice, boundaries, and standing up for what's right. And if you've ever had your own Karen moment, I want to hear your story too.